Hello there. Welcome back to EMS Grade 9. In this video, we want to look at a question paper of June 2018. And on this question paper, we are only going to look at question 2. And this question 2 is on economic systems. We have got questions that are going to follow on this question. So before we answer the question, we need to understand what we mean by economic systems. So we are just going to put down the formula, the explanation in terms of economic systems. So I remember we are familiar with our economic systems that we have. We've got plant economy, we have got the market economy, and we might also have the mixed economy. So we have got three main economic systems that we have there. So in terms of economic system as a term, it means, let's just try to put it down so that we understand what exactly we mean by economic systems. So the definition that we have in terms of economic system is that it is a system of it is a system of one. We might also define it as a system of resource allocation. Secondly, you can describe it as a system of distribution of goods and services. So this is how we can define an economic system. So this is a system of resource allocation or distribution of goods and services within a society. So within a society. So this is the basic definition that we can give in terms of economic systems. And then we can also define it on the other hand as a means by which societies or governments organize and distribute available resources. So that is an alternative definition that we can give to economic system. And remember, we are saying we have got three main types of economic systems. So these are now the types of economic systems that we have. We have one, we have the plant economy. Secondly, we have the market economy. And thirdly, we might have a mixture of this plant and market economy, whereby we call it a mixed economy. So these are the three main types of economic systems that we have. So if you go back to our question, let's try to look at the first question and see what does it say. It says label the three images below by identifying the economic systems in each picture. So we are having A. So in A, we are seeing that we are given a picture there whereby we are given a government, which means the government is determining whatever is happening in that economic system. So whenever we have the government that is controlling activities in an economy, we call it a planned economy. So basically, a planned economy is an economy in which production, investment, prices, and income are determined centrally by the government. So the government will determine everything in terms of production, investment, prices, and income. Then we can also define a planned economy from the point of view that decisions are mainly made by the central authority, that is the government. So whenever we see the government that is in control in terms of price mechanism, in terms of how the prices are going to be determining the supply of goods and services, we call it a planned economy. So there's no private ownership of resources in a planned economy. So the government is the control of everything that is happening in that economy, right? So you'd see that the first one is representing the planned economy. So on 2.1, we can just say we are now answering the question. So if you go to 2.1, we are saying A is representing the planned economy. Then we go to B, and let's try to see what B is representing there. So if you go to B, you are seeing that we have both the public and the private. So we are seeing that there's a mixture of the public. So the public there is representing the government, and then the private is representing private ownership of resources. So we have got a mixture that is there. So when we have a mixer, remember we are calling it mixed economy. So B is represented by mixed economy. Then we go to C. On C, we are seeing that on C we are given a picture whereby we are having uh, a picture with a cartoon holding something that is represented as money and is labeled profit. So which means profit is the main objective in this economic system. So remember that whenever there's private ownership of resources, private running of businesses, the main objective of those businesses to make profit. So we are being given the a cartoon holding a sticker of money representing profit, which means the main motive behind running businesses in this economic system is profit. And whenever we have such, it's called a market economy. So basically, when we are having a market economy, is we can call it a capitalist free market economy, in which we say the issues of the price mechanisms of how prices are being determined is being determined by private ownership. And then we are also having economic decisions and pricing being guided by the interaction of citizens and business. So everything that is happening in a market economy, we are saying is being determined by the forces of supply and demand. So basically, at the end of the day, we are saying even prices are being determined by the forces of supply and demand. So this is what we have in terms of C. So C, we are seeing that it's a market economy. So we can just label it a market economy. And then we move on to the next question to see what it requires. Let's just try to see that we are now on 2.2. So 2.2 reads, compare a planned economy to a market economy by referring to one advantage and one disadvantage of both economic systems. Complete the table in the answer book. So we are given a table there whereby we have a planned economy and we have to raise one advantage and one disadvantage. Then we go to market economy, you are supposed also to raise one advantage and disadvantage. So we are going to start with planned economy and try to raise advantage and disadvantage. So we are having here, let's have our next question, which is 2 points. Let's try just to refer back 2.2. We are having 2.2. So we are saying under planned economy, let's try to see what we have there. So, in terms of advantages of planned economy, we can just raise one or two advantages there. The question just requires one. So, one of the advantages of planned economy is that there is economic equality. Like by economic equality, we are saying we are not going to see a situation whereby we are going to have to see the poorest people and the richest people. So the government, since we are saying in the planned economy, we've got government interference. When the government interferes, it tries to redistribute income from the rich to the poor, mainly through the issue of taxation, whereby they tax the high income earners and then they redistribute the income to the low income earners. So in that sense, there's redistribution of income and economic equality is achieved. So that is what we have in terms of advantages of planned economy. So we can just try to raise another advantage that we can have in terms of planned economy there. You'd see also that in a planned economy, we are going to have a stable economic system, a stable economic a stable economic system in the sense that the government interference try to smoothen out the economic irregularities that might be there in the economy. Whenever prices are being charged at a higher price, the government can intervene and introduce price controls whereby they reduce the prices. And in that sense, we are seeing that the stability is being achieved, whereby inflation is going to be reduced. And also, when we have got unemployment in the economy, and the government can come in with policies like expansionary monetary policies, expansionary fiscal policies, whereby they are trying to reduce unemployment, they expand production through expansionary fiscal policies there. So this is what we have in terms of achievement of a stable economic system. So these are the advantages that we are having here. You can as well try to raise more advantages that we can deduce from planned economy. So let's just try to look at the disadvantages that we can deduce from planned economy. disadvantages. So we are seeing that under planned economy, we have got the government interference. So from that angle, we can try to deduce disadvantages that we can see when there is government interference. So usually when there's government interference, we're going to see that when the government interferes, it tries to protect some industries or companies. So in that sense, it barriers or hinders some companies to operate in that economy, whereby we are only going to have maybe few companies operating in industries. So when we have such a situation, we are seeing that competition is being reduced. So the issue that competition is being reduced is going to affect negatively the operations of the economy. We are also going to see a poor quality of products being produced due to lack of competition. So no competition can come in as a disadvantage of planned economy. So we can also deduce another point there by saying when there's also no competition, is going to also to lead to a poor quality of products, since we have a few firms that are operating. So we are going to say a poor quality of products can also be a result of planned economy. So these are the disadvantages that we can deduce from planned economy. So we can move on to market economy now in terms of advantages and disadvantages. So on market economy, we are saying there is no government interference. That is the main point that we have under market economy. So what advantages can we deduce from that? That is what we want to look at. So on advantages, we are saying in a market economy, there's an issue of privatization, which means there's anyone who wants to operate a business can operate. So we're going to see more firms operating under market economy. And when we have such a situation, we are having a situation whereby competition is being facilitated, and we are going to have more businesses operating. So in that sense, a quality of products that are going to be produced are going to be enhanced, since we are having more firms that are producing. So quality of products produced is increased. So this is one of the advantages that we can deduce from a market economy. So we can also deduce an advantage of saying small businesses can easily operate, because there are no barriers to entry in terms of the markets that are there or the industries that are there. Any business that wants to operate can operate. So small businesses can easily operate. So this can also be an advantages to those businesses, small to medium enterprises. So this is what we have in terms of advantages. So we can move on to disadvantages that we can deduce from market economy. So we can just say disadvantages. So on disadvantages now of market economy, we can have the issue of exploitation of labor. Exploitation of labor can be seen to prevail in a market economy, because these firms are after making profits, so they can do whatever is possible so that they make high profits. So by so doing, they might pay workers low salaries and wages, so that they widen the gap between expenses and revenue, and they make more profit. So in that sense, it might result in exploitation of labor. This is through maybe paying low salaries and wages. So this is one of the disadvantages that we can deduce from the issue of market economy. So these are the advice and disadvantages that we have between market and command or planned economy. So we can try to see if we have got another question that is following up of that. That we've got 2.3, we can move to 2.3. On 2.3, we are given there, it reads, read the quote below before answering the question. It reads, before you finish eating breakfast this morning, we have depended on more than half the world. This is from Martin Luther King. And then 2.3.1 reads, discuss two advantages or benefits of globalization. So before we answer this question, also we need to understand exactly what we mean by globalization. So let's try to see. So globalization, we can define it as a process by which ideas, knowledge, information, goods, and services are spread around the world. So whenever we have an interaction of a local economy with the international economies, we call it globalization. When we are trading with foreign nations, we call it globalization. So this is any interaction that can be there between our domestic country with our international countries. We call it a domestic call it globalization. So we can just put it down and say it's a process by which ideas, knowledge, a process by which ideas, knowledge, information, goods and services are spread around the world. So having defined it, you see that after uh, looking at globalization, you can at the end of the day, we can always be able to evaluate in terms of the benefits and costs that we can deduce from globalization. In the form of benefits, you'd see that when we are embarking on globalization, we are interacting with foreign nations, which means we are also acquiring goods that are being manufactured outside the country. So even technology is enhanced when we embark on globalization, whereby we are enjoying products maybe that are being produced from other advanced nations, and we enjoy those products. So, in that sense, technology in our domestic country is enhanced, but we can also deduce disadvantages or costs that we can deduce from globalization, in the sense that I would see that whenever we open our borders and we embark on globalization, it means the foreign companies are going to compete with the local companies. So we might the foreign companies might be more advanced than the local companies. So the products that are coming in are giving competition to local firms, and it might work in the disadvantages of local firms, whereby they are being outcompeted by foreign companies, and their products are not being bought. Maybe they are of lower quality than the foreign goods and services. So in that sense, we are not promoting locally produced goods. And at the end of the day, we are seeing that maybe the gross domestic product is going to be negatively affected, and it will lead to a negative economic growth, whereby the total production of goods and services in the country is going to be reduced. So, in our question, if you go back to our question, you'd see that it's saying discuss two advantages or benefits of globalization. So, in this sense, we are only going to deduce advantages that we can have in terms of globalization. So, let's try to see what we have in terms of advantages. So, on globalization benefits, so these are just benefits of globalization. So the first benefit that we can deduce from globalization is that it leads to free trade between nations. It leads to free trade between nations. So when there's free trade, it means we are going to see that even the consumers are going to benefit as the choice base is going to be widened. They are now free to choose from main sources of products, and they can make choices of their own. So there's no limited choice when we embark on globalization. So this is what we have in terms of one of the benefits that we can deduce from globalization. And it also strengthens a relationship that are there between countries. So you can say relations between countries is enhanced. So you are going to see that when countries trade between each other, it means their relationships also are going to be strengthened. And at the end of the day, we are going to see that political disputes are going to be reduced when we are having globalization, whereby countries are trading between each other. So these are some of the advantages that we can deduce from globalization. Let's go back to our question to see exactly. The question is requiring us to raise 2 points on benefits of globalization. So we can as well try to raise more points in terms of benefits of globalization. So this is what we have in terms of this video on the question of market systems. Those who have subscribed, please subscribe and share. We are still coming with more videos. As for this video, I'm signing out and we'll meet again.